They say you only get one shot at life. I spent mine climbing hard, fighting everyone, pushing past my limits. I wanted to reach the very top. I wanted the title, the power, the money, and I got it. I retired as a CEO of a major company, 75 years old when I finally stepped down. And now, looking back from 80, I realized something terrifying. I spent 5 decades climbing the wrong mountain. Every step I took up was a step further away from the only life that would have made me truly happy. I achieved everything I set out to achieve, and in doing so, I wasted my life. When I was a young man, success meant a certain thing. It meant the briefcase, the big office building downtown, the quarterly reports. My father had struggled financially, and I swore I would never let that happen to my family. That fear became my fuel. It wasn't about happiness, it was about safety, which quickly morphed into ambition. People praised the grind. They said if you weren't constantly working, you weren't trying hard enough. So I worked 60, 70, sometimes 80 hours a week. That mountain looked so glorious from the bottom. The summit promised fulfillment. It lied. You know what I actually loved? The dirt. The smell of fresh-turned soil in the spring. I loved watching things grow, slowly, surely, reliably. The garden. That was my true peace. I used to spend my entire Saturdays out back, just me and the hydrangeas. Then the career took off. I traded the trowel for the telephone. I traded the patience required to grow a seed for the impatience required to close a deal. That quiet part of me, the part that only wanted to be a simple gardener, I buried him deep down. I convinced myself that the CEO needed to bury the gardener. Big mistake. The sacrifices started small, almost invisible. First, it was missing Jerry's Little League game because of a late flight. Next time, I promised him. Then it was missing Myrtle's school play because of a board meeting. They need me, I told my wife, Agnes. Soon, the sacrifices weren't just missing events. They were the erosion of my presence. Even when I was home, I wasn't really there. My mind was always on the spreadsheets, the competitors, the next quarter. I was a ghost in my own living room. I didn't just miss their childhoods. I actively chose to be absent from them. Decades passed like blurs of airport terminals and sterile conference rooms. I was so focused on the horizon that I forgot to look at my feet. The money kept piling up, but it never brought satisfaction. It just raised the stakes. Every time I hit a new milestone, I just reset the goal higher. I chased more until more became the only thing I knew how to do. I remember one summer Agnes built a beautiful rose garden. I saw it maybe 3 times before winter hit. I asked her later who maintained it, and she just said, "Me, Clarence, always me." That hurt more than any corporate failure. Agnes tried to warn me. I remember one evening, about 30 years ago. I was pacing, agitated about a merger. She stopped me, put her hand on my shoulder, and looked right into my eyes. She said, "Clarence, what are you proving, and to whom? You already have everything you need in this house." I scoffed. I told her she didn't understand the real world. I told her I was doing this for us. I was so arrogant. I truly believed the love of my family was conditional on my financial success. I pushed away the only person who saw the tired man, not the determined CEO. And then I made it. I was 68. The unanimous vote came through. I was officially the CEO. The top floor, the private elevator, the whole thing. The first day I walked into that corner office, I expected a rush of euphoria, a feeling of, I did it. Instead, there was silence. A terrifying, echoing silence. I looked out the massive panoramic window at the city below, and I realized two things instantly. First, this mountain was cold and windy. Second, the climb was over, but the view was disappointing. It wasn't the view I actually wanted. It was just concrete and smog. The real turning point was retirement, 7 years later. Suddenly, I had all the time in the world. I went out back, planning to finally start that large vegetable garden I always dreamt of. I picked up a spade, and my hands felt soft, too soft. They were the hands of a man who signed papers, not a man who wrestled with roots and stones. I remembered my grandfather's hands, thick with calluses and stained with earth. My hands were clean. And in that moment, I understood that I had prioritized a paper legacy over a tangible, physical connection to life. My body was that of a man who never lived outside the office walls. My relationship with my children, Jerry and Myrtle, is polite. We talk, we visit. But they don't know the simple Clarence. They only know the CEO who gave them good advice and great financial security. We don't have that deep, easy familiarity you build through shared scraped knees and spontaneous camping trips. I tried to bridge the gap later, but you can't make up for 30 years of absence in a few afternoon visits. I see them now with their own children, and I watch them make time for the small things, the messy things, and I feel a sharp, terrible envy. I taught them how to be financially successful, but I failed to teach them how to just be present. I have enough money now to buy any piece of land, hire any landscape architect, or travel anywhere in the world. But I ran out of the only commodity that truly matters, time. Time to fix things with Agnes before she passed away. Time to teach Jerry how to build that shed. Time to simply sit quietly and watch the sunset without thinking about the Q4 projections. Money buys comfort, yes, but it doesn't buy back your past. When you are 80, the scale tips. Money means nothing compared to one more hour of true, unguarded presence with the people you love. The market doesn't care if you retire. Your family does. Now, my current garden is small. A few raised beds outside the kitchen window. It's what my body can handle. It is beautiful, though. Every time I pull a carrot out of the soil or trim back a lavender bush, I get a small, bittersweet taste of the life I should have led. I see the whole process now, planting, nurturing, waiting. That is the rhythm of life, not quarterly reports and hostile takeovers. This small garden is a constant reminder that I finally found my purpose, decades too late. I got the title, but I missed the poetry of existence. So here is the wisdom I earned through regret. Stop looking at the top of the mountain for validation. Look at your feet. Look at the ground right around you. Is the soil rich? Are you planting seeds that will nurture your soul and your family, or just seeds that will produce a profit? If you have to sacrifice the life you truly want for the success the world demands, stop climbing. Now. Go home, put your phone down, and start watering the garden you already have. That is the only summit that truly matters, and I pray you reach it while you still have the energy to enjoy the view.